talk about an old reference. Kodak moments.
These
that predates.
Are the moments.
Was that the song?
Those Kodak moments.
Wow, I guess start referencing Mary Tyler Moore pretty soon.
Oh, don't do that.
Did you see the latest Bob Newhart show? We've got next week. I want you to know, I'm very excited. Michael Madsen is coming on next week.
Whoa.
And then the 13th is John Turturro. So we got, Michael Madsen and John Turturro in back-to-back weeks. That's next week and the following week. And you're saying, that's great, Marty, but what do you have for me today? Well, take it easy, schmuck. I'm coming to it. We've got The Wolf of Wall Street. This is a guy who was like a Wall Street robber. Okay, he was one of the guys that got into excess and wound up going to jail for 22 months. And, of course, now he's written a book about
of how we can do it?
How he screwed us. And now we need to pay him more money.
Ah.
But he's a character. He's a character. These guys, they're basically con men. How do they do it? Well, they're likable. They gain your confidence.
Yeah.
And, they're playing a shell game. He's from New York. What better game to play? You ever been to Times Square? Play the shell game?
I never played the game, but I lived in New York City for 2 years.
Did you really?
Yeah, I went to school at Hunter College in there.
Wow, Hunter College. You need a 2.2 to get into Hunter?
I got a free ride because I had around a 3.8, so I got a free ride to Hunter College.
Wow, but you were homeschooled, so I'm feeling that your parents padded your grades a little bit.
I started school at about 14. I went to Hunter, and I finished high school early. And
when was your first homosexual experience when you were experimenting?
At Hunter, when I was 15.
Were there others?
I was raped.
Yes.
By many hot frat boy men.
It wasn't enough that they were men; they were hot frat boy men.
They were very sexy.
Very nice. Okay, jeez, that's a guy with an ego right there. It's not enough that he slept with guys; they were hot guys.
Oh yeah,
and they were oiled up and they wore Speedos, along with a construction helmet or a cowboy hat.
A cowboy hat.
Really?
Or an Indian costume. Are we doing the YMCA now all of a sudden?
I'm not. Apparently you were often in the village.
Hey, I was raped by the YMCA guys. Who were they? Village people. The village people.
Define rape. Really?
Non-consensual sex, though
Wow, it seems like you have a very, very legal description that you've had to go to on previous occasions, apparently.
But I've definitely said yes more times than I said no, so I think it's understandable that I never won in court.
With you, no means maybe, and you're standing by that.
You're right
now.
I think everybody on the board would agree with that. They know me pretty well. I think they'd agree with your statement.
Really?
Yeah.
These are your best friends on the board.
Yes.
That's really frightening.
Because they don't touch me personally. We touch cyberly, at least.
You cyber touch. Caress. Nino has a question. You can call in anytime, ask a question. 310-984-7600. Everybody call in. I'm looking at my new friend Ace. Suddenly, I'm liking Ace.
Yeah.
You're Aces. Look at that.
Is that because of you?
Yeah, you could smile, Ace. You're feeling good right now.
See a guy in a goatee and a guy with.
She's coming closer to me right there. What the hell? She's got tremendous trembosity. Do you know it seems to be like a law that every woman.
The cam?
No, every woman that is on this show has got like double D's. What's the deal? I'm not complaining at all, but
including me, definitely.
Yes,
yeah.
You're a guy with double D's.
You want me to show them off?
I want you to start doing some gym work. That's all I'm saying.
I apologize. I didn't know that was part of my job.
Cut down on the Fritos.
Okay, I will, Marty.
You would have a better dating life if we could get you a comb. That is going to be my gift. Dude, the
Jufro? Do you see the Jufro?
Is that the Jufro?
Look at it move, man. You see this?
I'm looking at it online. It's like a combination of Moe from the Three Stooges meets I don't know what, man. It is. It looks like a toupee.
It's when it moves around like that, definitely, yeah.
Ace is falling in love with me right now. Look at the way she's staring at the screen. It is.
Look at her. I'll look down at her.
She's really getting intense. There's a little delay. There's always a delay here in reaction.
Yeah.
At any rate, now we've got Jordan Belfort coming on. We've also got Rebecca Winters coming on from Time Magazine, and she's going to talk about her interview that she did this past week with Will Smith. And
Legend, I would suppose.
Yeah, exactly. There's a new film coming on out.
Right.
And there's a dude I do not get.
There's a dude that I don't understand. Why does he have to be in all the apocalyptic films? What made everybody say? Was it Independence Day that everybody went, "Oh, Will Smith has to be in a dystopian movie now every time"? I Am Robot or whatever. I Robot.
Why is Will Smith in any movies? Is he funny?
That's
is he a good actor?
That's a good
The guy's
point.
got ears bigger than Dumbo, and of course you want to accent those ears with big giant diamond earrings.
Definitely.
Draw your attention to those ears.
Yes.
Do you know that his movies gross more than Tom Hanks and Tom Cruise combined? His last 4 movies have grossed over $300 million apiece.
What is wrong with America? What is wrong with the world?
Are you saying it's because he's black? Are you a racist?
Yes, I'm a Jewish racist.
You are Jewish racist. Wow, I didn't realize you had that tendency. Look at everybody's coming on over. Rico, you're my pal. Metcalf. Ace, where are you looking now, Ace? Don't be cheating on me already. Stay right here.
Stare into the camera.
So anyway, listen, you guys call in, talk to any of these people that you like. For those of you just joining us next week, we've got actor Michael Madsen's coming on. In the following week, we've got John Turturro is coming on. You're saying, how is that possible? It is possible, believe me.
Because Marty Keegan's here. That's why it's possible.
Well, that and I have naked pictures of a lot of people. But
wow. Why have I not heard about this? And why have you not shown me?
Well, they're not necessarily attractive. That's why they're willing to come on the show.
I
would have laughed. I
want to laugh, at least.
Yes.
Please.
So, for those of you who are new and haven't been around, we've had people like David Lynch and Bill Engvall and William Friedkin and Amber Tamblyn and Freddie Rodriguez and Kevin Smith. Yes, who could forget Kevin Smith?
I'm actually wearing a Kevin Smith themed T-shirt right now.
Really?
Yeah, that is Kevin Smith right there. Right there.
Oh, in a Picasso-like abstract.
Yes, sir.
Now, do we have a promo from Kevin Smith?
We do, sir. Let me get that up here for us so we can hear how the lovely how much he enjoyed being on this show. Here we go. Oh.
Plays Silent Bob and all those terrible Jay and Silent. Hey, this is Kevin Smith, the guy who plays Silent Bob and all those terrible Jay and Silent Bob type movies, and you're listening to Hollywood Babble-On, where I at one point babbled on for like nearly an hour. Because I like the sound of my own voice.
And it's great that, you know what, there's a lot of new people on the board right now. Do you have the Joan Rivers clip over there?
Yeah.
Play the Joan Rivers. Joan Rivers came on the show, and this was the exchange that we had.
Okay, here we go, guys.
Keeps you young, doesn't it?
Who cares? Next. Don't patronize. Next.
No, I didn't mean that at all.
Don't fucking patronize. Keeps you young. Fuck you. If you're funny, you're funny whether you're young or you're old.
I am so happy I wasn't in the studio for that. Like, I don't know. You must have handled it well. I don't know if
my pee-pee shrunk.
It shrunk.
You know, and actually,
back inside.
Yeah, no, it leads us into Thanksgiving because it's like being at home with Thanksgiving with Mom. Is Thanksgiving turkey ready? Just get your fucking ass back out there. It'll be ready when it's ready. I love you. I love you too. Get the hell out. Where are my Pall Malls? So it's a nice family that I have. When they're not drinking and they're sober, they're very friendly.
Yeah, when they don't beat you with belts. Wait, were you not beaten with the belts?
Well, sure. That's America, baby.
Yeah, belt
That's America.
Bible belt.
Like Mitt Romney the other night. I don't want to commit to torture. I'm not going to talk. I'm against torture, but let's not talk about the types of torture that we utilize. I love that exchange. We'll talk about that later. But are we close to getting Jordan Belfort on?
We are moments away.
Okay, well, we're going to bring on Jordan Belfort. He's got a new book. Here it is. The Wolf of Wall Street. Whoa. Guy went to jail for his shenanigans and the bullshit that he did, the money that he stole on Wall Street. So we're going to bring him on. Jordan, are you there?
Yes, I am.
All right, don't get all polite on me, dude.
Me?
Yeah, listen to you. Listen, don't bullshit a bullshitter, man. I hate you and I love you because it's like your kid where you see the things and then that remind you of you that you don't want. It's like, I am you.
Yeah,
so
right.
If I was in your situation, I would have been your cellmate. So I can't come down too hard on you.
I'm telling you. I met a lot of people that say, either I wish I knew you back then, although I'm glad I didn't because I would definitely be alongside you in jail,
Well, look.
Very tempting.
Now, the book is The Wolf of Wall Street. You come from New York.
Right.
It's good to hear someone speaking proper English, by the way.
Right.
Yeah. All right, what part of New York are you from?
Originally from Bayside, Queens, and then I moved into the city for a short time. Then I moved out to Long Island, where I spent about 10 years or so with my second wife. Then I lived in Southampton for a while. I made my way all over from one side of the island to the other.
Okay, take it easy. I didn't need your life story. I'm not selling you real estate, okay? My whole family lives in Bay Ridge, so that's pretty close to you. And my wife, I met her in Astoria, Queens.
Really?
Yeah.
So my second wife's from Bay Ridge. She's the Duchess of Bay Ridge.
Yeah, I saw that
Should
one
I
of
leave
the
you guys
chapters.
alone? Should I leave you guys alone?
No.
You guys having a Kodak moment?
No, I just said last stop on the train. Last stop, Ditmas Boulevard.
The 7 train.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So now let's tell everybody the story. You're a guy from New York. You come from, would you say, a middle class family, working family?
Yeah, I came from a middle class family. My parents were both CPAs. And I think, in a sense, that was sort of like my frustration that my parents are both brilliant people, but yet they worked for other people and never made that much money. They worked paycheck to paycheck, and
right.
I kind of we had enough so that I didn't have to worry about having food on the table. Yet I always knew there was more out there, and that sort of attitude was pervasive in my entire neighborhood, where upper middle class and a certain sense of entitlement we all had. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right. So you got an entry level job on Wall Street,
right?
And take us through.
Went to Wall Street. Right.
Go ahead.
Well, I went to Wall Street as a cold caller, as a connector, just working for a stockbroker, dialing the phone and passing the phone. And I trained for 6 months basically, and then when it was my first day on the phone as a stockbroker, the market crashed. It was October 17th. 1987, and the whole thing sort of imploded right before my eyes before I ever got a chance to make a dollar. So at that point, what happened was there was this huge realignment in the market. It was a time of change. Like in any great crash, there's always opportunity. And after a war, there's always those that kind of emerge from the ashes that figure out a way to make money. That's what happened with me. And the market sort of shut down for a while, and I was going to leave the market. I went out to a small firm in Long Island just to work part time, and they were selling penny stocks. And I didn't even know what a penny stock was. Never,
ding. Light bulb went off.
I didn't know. And then when I saw the spreads, I don't know what your listenership is, how sophisticated they are in the market, but the difference between the bid and the ask, which is your commission, in a New York Stock Exchange stock is very small, and a penny stock it's huge. And when I look at these, I'm like, oh my God! If a client sends me $1 million, I get to keep $500,000. And the manager's like, well, theoretically, but no one sends in that kind of money. The most someone will send in is $1,000 or $2,000, and that's because they were calling people with little or no net worth,
right.
very unsophisticated investors. And I said to him, well, why not let's call the richest people? And he's like, no, they won't buy penny stocks, so on and so forth, blah blah blah. Okay, and at that point I was so destitute financially. I said, all right, fine, whatever, just give me the leads, whatever. And I abandoned that idea, although in the back of my mind I said something not right about that. Anyway, flash forward.
You were looking to hit a home run. You weren't looking to nickel and dime. You said, I'm going to take a shot. The guys with the big bucks, you're going to sell them on, hey, look, you can clean up because you can buy a shitload of stocks for pennies. Correct?
Right. Well, originally that didn't work though. In other words, that doesn't work. You can't do that. And originally that was what I thought when that instant when I was sitting in the manager's office that first day. I was like, well, let's just sell these guys these rich people $1 million of penny stock. I tried that when I opened up Stratton about 10 months later. I became the top broker in this company virtually overnight. And when I opened up Stratton, it's just a franchised office. I tried that. It didn't work. Rich people will not buy penny stocks. They don't. They won't invest any substantial amounts of money in them. So I tried with the $6 stock, and that didn't work either. Cold calling with the $6 stock. So I then came up with the idea of, wait a second, I know what's wrong. If we sold them a big stock like Eastman Kodak first, so when we called them the first time, we had sort of we had name recognition. Oh, hey, it's Eastman Kodak. It's a great company. You probably, you've heard of it before. They're in litigation with Polaroid, so on and so forth. So that sort of broke the ice. And once they bought, let's say, 500 shares of Eastman Kodak, which was $20,000 back then, right? You call them back 10 days later and say, I have a different sort of, stock at $6. And for whatever reason, just by breaking the ice, they say, all right, give me 50,000 shares. And they buy $300,000 of a $6 stock on the first trade. It was utterly...
You establish trust. They're doing business with you, so they trust you.
Right. It was such a breakthrough since no one had tried that before. I don't know why. I'm not such a genius or anything, but just no one had tried it, and it worked so incredibly well that I went from, I was making, let's say, $500,000-600,000 a year as a stockbroker. I was making $1 million a month within 3 months and making $5 million a month within 8 months. That's how dramatic it just literally spiraled out of control. I had kids lining up at my door from all across America to work at this company, and it just grew and grew, and I parlayed and started buying, then I basically vertically integrated, started buying startup companies. One of them was Steve Madden Shoes, among 30 others. I just kept buying anything and anything I could with the profits and plowing it back in. That's how I really made my money. And, the really sad thing is, by the way, if I would have done it legitimately, if I wouldn't have manipulated the stocks, see, the companies themselves were legitimate. It wasn't that. That wasn't what was the problem. The problem was that when the deal would go public, I was parking units in, shares of stock in friends' accounts and then buying them back cheaply, which is against the law. And that was really...
Well, I noticed that your speech pattern sped up. You had everybody go, and then you just kind of sped up past the illegal part.
Right.
But that's kind of
listen, there's like certain elements of this whole thing. Like, again, I had this one FBI guy, this guy, Agent Coleman, who was like my nemesis, who's now my friend. I call him my friend, okay? And he's a great guy, and he was doing his job. I don't hold anything against him, okay? But, he investigated for 7 years trying to find out something I was doing wrong, and it was very difficult because 95% of what I was doing was legitimate. The problem was this other 5% that kills you every time, and that's what was going on. Is I was buying back these units. A unit is just a share of stock and a warrant attached. I was buying them back cheaply, and then the price was flying up, and so then it turned into a pump and dump essentially. And that's what the story was.
A pump and dump. Some of these guys here do this with some of the girls, but that's a whole other story. Let's not go there.
Neither here nor there.
Now, what? But how did they catch you? I mean, what was the? How did they trip you up?
Ultimately, what happened was I was getting cash kickbacks from millions and millions of dollars worth of cash from people that were making money in these deals, and they would give me back cash. And listen, if you read the book, I mean, the insanity of the drugs alone is just I was so whacked out on drugs. As I was doing all this, I was just going nuts.
But you were a kid. You were in your 20s, early 30s.
Yeah.
And now it's a party. You're a rock star. And you spent you had a hotel bill that was $700,000. What?
Well, that's misleading because actually $300,000 of that was jewelry that I charged to the room. The actual hotel bill was $400,000.
Oh, only $400. Only $400.
There was a jewelry shop in the hotel room the hotel. This is in Sardinia called Bucciolati. So I bought my wife $300,000 worth of jewelry. Actually, I bought her a quarter, I think $270,000, and I spent my friends like $30,000 worth of jewelry because it was after my yacht sank, which is also in the book, and I was so happy to get rid of this fucking yacht because I was just hated the yacht already. When it sank, I was like, I knew I'd be getting a big insurance check from Lloyd's of London. I was like, hey, let's have a party. So we went to this hotel, and when I checked out, it was like $692,000. Then went to the airport, my plane crashed. I had a G3, and that went down. It was just the craziest week, That was my life.
Yeah, but now, but I'm saying for $400,000, forget the jewelry, knock it down to $400,000. What the hell do you buy for $400,000? That's one hell of a snack bar they had in there.
I don't even know what I'd do with that money. I have no idea what I would eat. Where I start.
Are they selling blow at the Hilton? What is going on? I mean, how do you get a $400,000 bill?
I'll tell you how it happened. Very simple, okay? What happened is that when the yacht sank, it was 18 people on the yacht. So I had to put up all 18 people in this hotel. So I had like 9 rooms. I was in the presidential suite, which was like $7,000 a night, okay? And the other rooms were like $4,000 a night. Okay, so you take, at 9 rooms, I think, altogether, you're looking at 40, it's like $40,000 a night or something like that, and, we're there for 10 days, you figure it's pretty quick, plus wine, champagne, listen, this place, it was the Hotel Cala de Volpe, which is this, like, super expensive hotel in Sardinia, and, they have olives by the bar, the best Sardinian olives, and, you think they're free, but there's like a guy with a telescope watching it. Each one he charges like $40 for each olive you pluck off the bar.
Are you telling me they charged you guys $400,000 and there were no blowjobs involved whatsoever? I find that very hard to believe.
I'd ask for at least 5.
There should be some kind of sexual favor for that.
I was with my wife, and listen, I'll admit, my wife was gorgeous. She still to this very day is a gorgeous lady. So of course I had her, in the room with me, which was not a bad thing. But I, if you read the book, I did. And, I had this way of always I don't know what it was. Things always happen to me with women. Like if I was getting a massage or something, the masseuse would jerk me off. I just it was never my fault really. Just I was always
happy ending.
You were just there.
Yeah, but I never planned this sort of thing. It's really, what can I say?
Well, when you bring your wallet and you take off the pants and the green is sticking out of the wallet, they kind of get the idea. A few extra bucks.
Well, my question is, when you, what point, how much money how much did you have in your bank account when you finally said, it doesn't matter anymore, I can just do whatever the fuck I want now, it just doesn't matter? Or were you all about it right when you started making money? Or is it when you hit $5 million that you were like, screw this, I'm going to just spend money?
Wow, it happened. I think I had two shots. One, I made the first score I made $700,000 in one day. And that was 24 times. That was just so much money.
Why am I meeting you now?
What is this?
I know. Yeah, it's like the girls I meet. I meet them when they have all the personality. Why didn't I meet you when you had some money? We could make some movies, man. What is going on?
What I did is I went out and I bought a white Ferrari Testarossa because it was the same car Don Johnson had. So I started figuring out, I need to play everything I ever wanted, every fantasy I had. I want to be Don Johnson. I bought the Ferrari. Okay, I wanted to be James Bond. I bought an Aston Martin and made it into a James Bond car for $75,000. I put a nail box in, tear gas cannons, an oil slick, a lace license plate that slid back and revealed a blinding strobe light that blind my pursuers. That was crazy. But I would say, to answer your question, though, what happened was I made the money so fast that even it was piling. Even before I reached a substantial net worth, when I never was worth $1 million. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's one day I had $100,000. And the next day, I was on the pace of making $13 million a year. So it was I had cash flow more than net worth in the beginning. My net worth built over time, but I had such cash flow that I could not spend the money fast enough. Plus, I was getting, even in the early days, I was getting kicked back probably an average of, let's say, 100,000. Even in the very beginning, I was getting kicked back in green. This is the $100 bills, about $100,000 a month.
So you're a young guy, and it just seems like it's endless. So even if you piss away $1 million on something, you say, "What do I care? I'm getting a check tomorrow for the same."
Exactly.
And the guys in the NBA, all these black guys are all inner city kids that had nothing.
Yeah.
And now they get these checks that are $1 million checks. And I have a friend who's an agent who tells me that most of these guys live paycheck to paycheck. It's hard to believe.
It was the whole thing, right? Exactly.
Because they got another one coming, and they think it's going to end forever, and they blow out their knee, and they've spent all their money. Sound familiar, Jordan?
You need a Jewish mother.
You brought up a very valid point, though, because the thing is, it's not so much when you feel like spending money, it's not so much how much you have, it's but how quick you're making it. When you think every month another $1 million, then money has no value. As soon as you stop making it, all of a sudden it's like, whoa, let me see what I got. Now you got to, apportion your money. And, when you're making it so fast, it's just like the money loses its value. It just totally does. And that's what happened to me. It didn't matter. It was monopoly money to me. It didn't matter.
Now, but both your parents are accountants. Why didn't you have more respect for the money? Because I just met a guy I was at Thanksgiving, and this kid, I didn't know it at the time, but he's worth about $100 million.
From what?
Well, he inherited the money, but
nice.
But the thing is very conservative. People handling the money. You'd never know. I mean, there's nothing about the guy that would ever say, money, money, money. He doesn't spend anything. He keeps it all.
But here's the thing, also. You're looking at a guy who inherited money, right?
Right.
Maybe everybody's different, but there's a difference if he had $100 million and he was making an additional $3 million a month. It was kept coming in. Now, I guess he has money interest, but it's probably being managed for him. Okay,
right.
But when you're making the money yourself, you're talking about a trust fund, baby. And listen, and again, everybody's different. I'm not saying that what I did. It was my trip. That was my. I had these certain weaknesses. For what. Listen, insecurities, whatever you want to call them. I was who I was, and there are many people like me. There are also many people like this guy you met Thanksgiving that look at money and they're prudent with it and they don't squander it. I took on July 4th, 1990, excuse me, we took bottle rockets and put them in Coke bottles, and I put $100 bills to the bottle rockets. We lit them off.
Oh.
You know why? Because we didn't give a shit. It didn't. I drawers full of $100. We literally launched them into the fucking ocean. That's what we did.
Now,
it didn't have any value. It didn't have value. Remember, you ever watch Gilligan's Island? You ever watch Gilligan's Island?
Yes, I have.
A 3-hour
Remember when Thurston Howell III, who was the original Wolf of Wall Street, he's lighting his money on fire on the island to make a signal fire. It didn't matter.
Right.
It was like it was a joke.
But at a certain point, when you look back on it now, you look at, man, what I could have done with that money. I could have given it to people. I could have made a difference. I could have done this. I could have done that. Do you look back on it at all and think about that?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I was a very charitable guy when I was making money. I was very, that was definitely
not to me, you son of a bitch. I haven't seen $1.
What can I say?
I haven't seen a penny from you.
I know. I was giving away my money very, very readily, but you're right. Yeah, I look back at it now, and listen, I have no choice but to basically laugh at what happened,
right?
Or else I could just make myself nuts over it.
Yeah,
okay?
yeah.
But in a way, I also, especially towards the end, I felt like I just had to kind of zero out again and start over. Like I just had to end it. Like I had to kind of turn over a new leaf in my life and just say, you know what, I'm closing the chapter out. I'm starting over. And I kind of think I needed that emotionally to move on. And, for me, making money has never been a problem. It's not. I'm an author right now. This is what I do. I'm writing another book. I'm almost done with it right now. And, this is what I do. Like, if I don't do it just for the money. If I wanted to make money, I would always make money. I'm a salesman. I can do that. Like, that's not the limiting factor in my life. The limiting factor in my life, more than anything, is just to live my life with self-respect now. You know what I'm saying? I have 2 children that are older, they're 14 and 12, and, I'm not going to live that crazy, wild life now. Like, I'm proud of, listen, with this book, I'm proud of what I did. I worked really hard on it, okay? And, I think it's a really good book. I know people, many people really enjoy it. They laughed, to high heaven over it, and they scratch their head, they can't believe it happened. But for me, it's about a career as a writer. This is what I do now. If I just wanted to make money, I'd probably start a hedge fund because I could still do that. I'm not barred from being
right.
from running a hedge fund if I want. But that's not I'm just not into making money, and that's not really where my head is at anymore.
But now you went to jail for 22 months. Where were you in jail?
I spent half of it in Taft, California. With
oh,
Tommy
Jesus,
Chong.
man! I've been through Taft. That is like the shittiest town. It's not. It's the armpit of America. It made Pittsburgh look like a great place.
Listen, it's totally, it's like oil, it's like spent oil country. It's like when you can still see the oil wells chugging along, but they're barely paying for themselves at the rate they bring up oil from the ground.
They're wheezing. Yes, they're asthmatic wells.
Exactly. So I went to Taft, and the first day, who do I meet? They throw me in a cube with Tommy Chong. And I'm like, oh my God! So every night we're telling each other stories, and Tommy's like, you got to write a book. I mean, this is just, your life is so insane. And
Tommy Chong, for those of you who don't know, is from Cheech and Chong, so that's great. He was there on a bong rap, so you're depressed. Right. He lights one up for you, and there you go. Sweet,
right?
Sweet.
Tommy's a real classy guy. He's a good guy, and he was there. I couldn't believe he was in jail for selling not even pot, selling bongs. I didn't even know it was illegal, and. So he said to me, you gotta write. So I was bored, so I started writing, and I taught myself to write when I was in jail. That's how this whole thing started, and there you have it.
Well, so now, but you had a drug problem too. What was your drug of choice? You're doing blow?
Well, my original drug of choice was Quaaludes. But my drug of choice, I did.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with that. That takes you straight to the Major League Baseball, man. The guys are on popping Quaaludes all the time, I believe.
Listen, for me, Quaaludes was, it started off, it was great, had a lot of fun. It was a sort of a happy ending because I would go to sleep at the end. When I switched to blow, it got so evil. It was so evil that, literally, I hadn't slept in months. I became insane. I was sitting in my office, my home office, with a shotgun across my lap, and just waiting for. Plus, I had armed bodyguards in my house, and 3 o'clock in the morning, I heard some rattling in the driveway. I went out and shot the milkman and blew out his freaking taillight, the milkman. I was crazy,
Wow.
I just lost my mind. I thought there was space invaders coming into my window. I was making crack in my kitchen, blowing up my kitchen, cutting open my furniture, looking for a lost rock of cocaine, becoming violent with my wife. When I'm not a violent guy ever. I've never raised a hand to anybody, but, I got nuts. I got nuts from it. So the coke is really what got me sober because, I was doing the lewds for so many years, and I continued to do lewds right to the very end. But when I really started doing the heavy coke is when my life just started to, spiral down really fast. My personal life just became nuts.
Well, the great thing is that's all in the book. The Wolf of Wall Street, it's all in there. His entry into Wall Street, his brainstorm of an idea, how he was making all the millions, his boats, the excess spending, the drugs, the women, the cocaine, the shooting of the milkman, it's all in there. The Wolf of Wall Street. Now, dude.
Especially the if you're also for women too, by the way, women love this book because there's a very strong female character, which is my wife in there, because we're going, she's this gorgeous model, and she's from where you're from. She's from Bay Ridge, Brooklyn, but she's English, so she's got the face of an angel. She's sort of got a little bit of British to her, the manners, but
right.
She's mean. When she gets mad, she's a Brooklyn girl. Motherfucker, she's cursing, and she's so over the top hysterical. So, I mean, women love the book. Love the book as much as men, but women really enjoy it, too, because she's in there and just going toe-to-toe. I'm like this little devil. I'm sleeping with hookers. I'm doing drugs. And she's like,
And she stood by you.
The whole thing.
She stood by you.
She did. She's a great girl. We ended up getting divorced much later, but, she stayed through the distance for a long time,
Isn't that amazing? They stay the distance, and then when you're okay, they bail because they're just worn out. They can't take it anymore. There's too much water under the bridge.
Yeah.
So now
you're
living in Los Angeles now, right?
Yeah, I live in Manhattan Beach, California.
Manhattan's nice. So no matter what happened, you got the weather in L.A. and you got Manhattan Beach, so it has a happy ending. And I want to know, why aren't you producing
movies?
Yeah. You're a guy that always lands on his feet, can raise money. I'm a guy who's got 2 scripts right now that I'm looking for short bread.
There he is, baby.
I'm going to bring
Marty
you
Keegan.
In with me, and you go hustle. You don't need a lot. You can hustle up some money and do a film.
Yeah, right.
Well, why not?
I'll tell you. Here's my philosophy of success. Ready for it in a nutshell?
Yes.
You can't do too many things at the same time. Okay, so right now.
Now wait a second. I just want to get this straight. With all your other friends, you're giving them $4,000 nights in a hotel. Me, you give philosophy. I've got enough philosophy from my parents, in-laws, the guys around here. I need cash. I got to get this movie going.
Wisdom.
Yeah.
The benefit of wisdom. No, the bottom line is.
No, you're right, though. You're absolutely right. If you're going to write,
listen,
write.
Right now, I'm writing.
Yeah.
Writing is not an easy thing. Okay,
Can you write me a check?
Write you a check. That's easier. Okay, so I'm almost on my second book, couple weeks, and listen, who knows what the future brings in terms of producing movies and writing screenplays, and all that stuff is open to me for the future, motivational speaking eventually. But for right now, I'm just focusing on building my career as a writer. That's where my head is at right now.
Good for you, man.
And that's what I'm doing.